I want to move very quickly to this issue where Archbishop Duncan-Williams and Reverend Eastwood Anaba have resigned from the board of the National Cathedral. And so I'll stay with you on this, Grace, because I mean, it's your government in power, your party in power, that has been leading this effort. Do you have anything to say about that?
I do, briefly.
Or you plead the fifth?
Briefly, you know, Apioko, this whole thing about National Cathedral, it's states something, you know. You know, our church landscape is problematically denominationalized. And we also have a situation whereby our politics is retrogressively partisan. So we need a symbol of national unity. We need something, in terms of infrastructure, we have a missing infrastructure for solemn national occasions like state funerals, presidential inaugural services, and then national Thanksgiving, among others. So when you go to a country like Ivory Coast, they have the Notre Dame.
Yes,
yeah, and then it serves that purpose. And then even here in Ghana, our Muslim brothers have a very magnificent edifice around Kaokudi. That forms, that's a symbol of their unity. That kind of combines them or joins them. So when you talk about mosque, you know there's a particular mosque that joins all the Muslims. When there's an occasion or something, they can just go and meet there and then have their own this thing. So it's not a problem, or it's not, I don't think it's an issue for the Christian this thing to also have something like the National Cathedral. And it's a state something. It's not just it's not a private something, it's a state something. So for Archbishop Nicholas Duncan-Williams and then Reverend Eastwood Anaba to resign, I think it has to do with, they said there should be a private accounting,
yes,
to audit all the public or the funds that goes into the building of the cathedral.
So I'll just read the story very, very briefly. The founder and general overseer of the United Denominations of Action Chapel Churches Worldwide, Archbishop Nicholas Duncan-Williams, and president of the Eastwood Anaba Ministries, Reverend Eastwood Anaba, have resigned from the Board of Trustees overseeing the construction of the National Cathedral in Ghana. And then I'll just, skim through to tell you what they've said. Despite our prayers, best hopes, and wishes, unfortunately, a needed audit to help restore public confidence and trust in this consequential project has not been enacted to the best of our knowledge. Since January 2023, we awaited news to no avail regarding the finding of the audit. We therefore regret that as a matter of conscience and faith, we hereby submit to you our resignation from the Board of Trustees of the National Cathedral. And so that was their reason. They also said the current economic climate in Ghana presents obstacles to the timely construction and completion of the National Cathedral. We therefore resolve that in the spirit and cause of transparency and accountability to the Ghanaian people, the current Board of Trustees of the National Cathedral shall appoint an independent, nationally recognized accounting firm to audit all public funds contributed to and spent by the National Cathedral. So, that's it. And then, sometime last year, we also had Dagwood Mills also resigning. So this is, now we have three. And these are very known figures, respected figures in the Christian community, in the charismatic Christian community of Ghana. So, it's raising eyebrows.
Yeah, exactly.
It's raising eyebrows. And I don't think, yes, there have been people who've been for and against the cathedral and its construction. But what you've described, it makes sense. I mean, yes, the government sees we want to construct an edifice, looking at examples in La Côte d'Ivoire and all over the world, there are places like that, right? But the question has always been, do we have the money and the strength, the financial muscle to do it at this time? And now we're dealing with these men who are revered in society coming to tell us that there are issues of accountability at their level. People are not happy. So, Grace.
So just like you said, it has to do with having a private accounting firm auditing all the funds that are going into the building of the cathedral. But Apioko, I also want to mention something here. When it comes to funding and financing or fundraising for the cathedral, so I have something here. Besides state financing, fundraising strategy raised by the trustees. So a fundraising this thing has been raised by the Board of Trustees. And one is the mass mobilization strategy, whereby 100 cedis by well-meaning able Ghanaians monthly is being advised to be contributed, or is being pleaded with to be contributed on the short code *979#. So this short code was developed for this purpose. That is for the mass mobilization strategy. And this strategy was raised by the trustees themselves. We also have the church mobilization, whereby statutory budgetary support from the churches for the National Cathedral Week, that was in July 2022, was also raised. We have sources of funds coming from there too. And then we have the private sector strategy, whereby business roundtable to mobilize Christian businesses and Christian businesses, men and women, to financially support the project. That is also one. And then we have the international fundraising, whereby Ghanaians in the diaspora and then churches and other international actors who support the National Cathedral vision can also come on board to contribute something. That was also designed on, or that was also formed on 27th June 2022. So the conclusion is that we have other sources of funds that are coming into the building of the cathedral. It's not just the state alone providing the funds. So the macroeconomic indicators may not look very favorable. The economic situation may not look very favorable. That is very understandable, because I know that for now it's even been suspended. The works have been halted. It tells you that government is a listening government, that what Ghanaians are crying about, what Ghanaians are saying, that, oh, the economic situation does not look too favorable, so let's just hold on a bit, or let's just do something about it. But I just brought all of these in for Ghanaians and then your viewers to also know that the funds is not coming from government alone, it's coming from other sources as well. And I know there are churches in Ghana who have also made donations. I don't have that list. I would have mentioned names of the churches and then how much each of them has contributed. So there is an open and transparent process of communication, and that will be elevated to achieve this. None will be kept in the dark about where the monies are coming from. Okay. So this board of trustees are part of these other sources of funds.
But then we have 3 board members who are saying that there's no accountability. Why do you think they would say that then?
Well, probably I respect their decision to, you know, if they want to stand aside until something is done, or that private accounting firm is raised to audit the monies that are coming. I agree with them. I'm not against their decision. But then I believe that they are board of trustees, and probably there may be other internal issues that have not been addressed that they are not very happy with. That is why they decided to. But for them to also say that their prayer and support is still with us, it tells you that the National Cathedral is still credible.
Hey.
I feel
okay. Aisha, do you have anything to say?
Aisha.
I also want you to comment on the fact that the NDC was here yesterday to apologize
to Akosia Ocheri.
Yes.
We will. So, in fact, I have a lot to say. But I'll
like
touch on it
minutes.
briefly.
Okay.
You see, it's to know Anaba and Duncan-Williams' resignation is in order. It's rather unfortunate it had to take them this long to resign. But if they have asked that a private audit must be done, so they would know what they have put themselves into until date, government hasn't taken steps to engage any private audit firm to go into the matter so that they will know their stance. And they have decided now to say enough is enough. We have waited for far too long. We are not even being allowed to meet the president. So we are opting out of this trustees board. It's in order. I would have done same. However, you see, it's rather unfortunate that the state has used God's name to perpetrate such disservice to the people of Ghana. Look, $400 million has already been sunk into that big hole we see there. $400 million. State funds, not those that have been solicited from other places. $400 million of state funds. Abioko, you won't believe Ken Oforiatta, on the blind side of government, had to dip his hands in the consolidated fund, went to Comptroller and Accountants General, authorized them to release $25 million as additional seed, meaning he has already gone for some monies.
Okay, I don't have evidence of
yes,
that.
No, you can Google.
You
can Google. It was in July 2022 that it was reported. It was all over. Citi TV even reported it.
I don't have documents to prove
from the consolidated fund to be used as additional seed for the National Cathedral. Why? Without parliamentary approval. And I deem that as stealing. It's stealing because You can't take something that doesn't belong to you without first asking the owner. The money in the consolidated fund is not for Ken Ofori-Atta. It's for the people of Ghana. Those in parliament, the MPs, are there to represent the people of Ghana. So if you go for the money inside the consolidated fund without first seeking their permission and approval, it's stealing. And you can't steal in the name of God. And now come and blackmail us emotionally that you are building a church for Ghana and people are against it. Nobody is against building the church of Ghana. But the timing and the mode of money acquisition for the cathedral is questionable. We have a member of the board of trustees who is using 2 identities, 2 mothers, 2 tin numbers. And the president and the chief of staff is complicit in this whole matter because you appoint somebody as Reverend Kusi Boateng. Then the next day, the person comes for a diplomatic passport as Reverend Edu Jemfi, and you did not question it. It means you are aware that the person is using 2 identities. You are in connivance with this person to milk the state dry. This person claimed to have given the state some amount of money, and the next minute, we are seeing the money being transferred to this person's account. We go into it and we realize that the person's company is not even in a good financial standing to be able to give that kind of money. There are a lot of questions surrounding this cathedral, and I'm saddened that after all this, dipping your hands in the consolidated fund and all that, you come and blame the economic woes on COVID and Russia-Ukraine war. You don't do this to the state and blame it. Look, the amount of money that has been invested in the cathedral is enough to provide as much as 596 dialysis machines for the country. But here we are. There are a lot of hospitals across Ghana that do not even have dialysis machines. It's only 4 regions that can boast of dialysis machines. Those are not even enough. And we had all this money and we've sunk them into cathedral. Some are finding themselves in people's pockets and all that. Until date, there is no auditing of the funding, nothing. And that has forced Duncan-Williams and Reverend Eastwood Anaba to resign. And you know, even the Attorney General, Kofre Dame, has Nicodemously resigned. He has Nicodemously resigned. He didn't make it public because it was a shame. It was a shame. And that is a conflict of interest because he was a board member of the PPA and again serving as a secretary to the National Cathedral. And you are approving funds for the National Cathedral. This is, you know, you think of it and it's crazy. It's crazy. We can't sink as much as $400 million into a cathedral. And look, Lamyoko, do you know that the most devastating thing? The kind of cost we have to incur just by putting up that hole. The cost we had to incur. Lamyoko, the Judicial Service Training Institute was demolished just to pave way for the hole. And now government had to go and seek for a loan of $50 million to build a new one. The Scholarship Secretariat, look, it has served people. It has a historic, you know, memory.
Yeah.
Nkrumah got scholarship from there. Atta Mills, Rawlings, Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, they all got scholarship from the Scholarship Secretariat. You demolished it to pave way for that hole, the judges' bungalow. For a long time, you've been renting for these judges. Lamyoko, the Malian embassy residence. It has been demolished.
Yeah, because it's taking all the time.
As we speak, they are still in a rented accommodation. As we speak. Cosmos IT firm, demolished. And they've been relocated temporarily. Okay. The Waterstone Realty, demolished. They are now demanding 120 million Ghana cedis.
Okay, Aisha,
as compensation. You don't do this to the state.
Out of time.
In the name of cathedral.
My boss sent me an additional information about
so please go ahead.
the spillage.
You don't do that.
So you were asking me about any additional relief items that has been. So as at last Friday, Aisha said the president went to Mipe without any relief items. It's not true. He went there with relief items. Distributions were done before even the president arrived. Every other day, food and household supplies were distributed. Water in tanks and sachets were also distributed daily. And then government has also announced that after the water levels drop, they will roll out a rehabilitation program to restore livelihoods. NADMO Reviewing Command, 48 Engineer Regiment, and Naval Training Command handle evacuations too. VRA and NADO also handle the relief items. And at the various safe havens, they have set up mobile clinics to take care of those who have been affected. And then also water in tanks and sachets have been distributed daily. So if Aisha says that as at Friday when the president went there, no relief items were sent, it's not true. Relief items were sent even before he arrived.
All right. So, I mean, unfortunately, we're out of time.
But
you ladies have to come back.
Yes, but we'll talk briefly.
Yes. So,
on behalf of the NDC,
yes,
we apologize. We apologize for the unfortunate incident. Akosi, if you are watching me, it's rather unfortunate you were caught up in the heat of some disgruntled foot soldiers. And I can assure you the party has taken steps. The perpetrators of the heinous, whatever it was, the attack, have been referred to the FEC of the National Democratic Congress, and they are going to be punished. They are going to be punished to appease you. We beg you.
Will they be handed over to the police?
This is not the NDC.
Will they be handed over to the police?
They have been referred to the
FEC. Her arm is in a sling.
In a sling. I saw the picture. The FEC is going to sit down from today and take a severe action on the perpetrators. So, Akosia, we are very sorry. This won't happen again. We are going to make sure we use these people as scapegoats to serve as a deterrent to all those who have the intention of attacking media personalities because they are covering whatever they are doing that is not in their favor. It is not the stock in trade of the NDC. It is not our stock in trade, and we sincerely apologize.
So about the National Cathedral, she made mention of some $400 million.
60 seconds.
It's not true. Aisha, it's not true. It's not true. On 25th November, 25 million was released as 10% of the seed money that is going to be used to construct the cathedral, after a letter of intent was signed between contractors and Board of National Cathedral Trustees for mobilization of contractors to site for excavation, building work, and etc. So first tranche of the money was released by Honorable Ebenezer Kujokum. And then on February 2021, the second tranche of 25 million Ghana cedis was also released for the same purpose. So if you sit here and you say $400 million has gone into the building of the district, I don't know where that is coming from. It's not
I think you ladies need to come back and we thrash this out with more numbers. Ladies and gentlemen,
Ajayi alone was given 113 million for the architectural design.
Aisha, we're out of time.
Listen, just listen.
Ajayi
we're out of time.
113 million.
We're out of time. This has been the news review segment right here on Breakfast Daily. I've had here with me Aisha Hassan. She's an NDC communication team member, and Grace Akosia Enima. She's the government spokesperson on infrastructure. Always great having the ladies. They brought some fire to the studio.